I very rarely go live, but it's the middle of the night, I can't sleep, and I thought, what the hell? Thought, what the hell? Nothing wildly interesting anyway. In fact, it's probably completely disinteresting, like most of what I do is. But yeah, I thought I'd read from my the collection of poems that I wrote and illustrated. It's handmade. It's called Severed, My 2020 in Daily 50-Word Character Poems. Um, yeah, I wrote it during COVID, and it's I've already read out about 12 parts of this collection, and I'm now on day, what is it, 121. Yeah, interesting 6 years on to look back at how life has developed since COVID, which instinctively I felt was a watershed moment in our lives as humans. A time where everything changed. Well, it certainly did for me, both in good and bad ways. So I just thought I'd read it out. You're not going to see me on camera because I don't like people seeing me on camera. Take the odd photograph, but that's it. Okay, so day 21. Why? That's a good question. Lawyer Shua. Why? Why indeed? Day 21. Toothache, sensitive teeth, face pain. Face, teeth, sensitive toothache, pain. Toothache, sensitive teeth, face pain. Face, teeth, sensitive toothache, pain. Toothache, sensitive teeth, face pain. Face, teeth, sensitive toothache, pain. Toothache, sensitive teeth, face pain. Face, teeth, sensitive toothache, pain. Toothache, sensitive teeth, face pain. Face, teeth, sensitive toothache, pain. Day 122. Denial blocking, instincts ignoring, guts not letting the heart dictate, forcing fear away, eating without restraining, self-love to enter my real world, my real desires, my beating heart where there are no consequences at the end of the fantasy, just complete relaxation and broadening separation from this existence we're sold. Jeg forstår lidt norsk. I understand a little Norwegian. Jeg forstår ikke English folk. I do not understand English people. Jeg forstår Maya Frank. I understand a lot of French. Jeg forstår ikke det engelsk. Summerfont. I do not understand English society. Jij verstoor lit spangst. Day 126. 1 plus 2 minus 4 equals minus 1 plus 7 equals 6 times 2 equals 12 divided by 3 equals 4 minus 4 equals 0 minus 5 equals minus 5 minus 2 equals minus 7 plus 10 equals 3 times 3 equals 9 minus 5 equals 4 minus 1 equals 3 minus 2 equals. Day 127. High Hill, Lake Helen. Friends came, Panther Shadow, resting free. Full restaurant, broken apart. Helicopter blade, blown broom. Coned perspective, missing person. 18 years. Trace expert, planet cared. Table mystery, easily manipulated, blocking device. Playful sex. Killer popper, never herself, climbing away. Relationship help, no expertise. Burning chemistry, minus outlet. Yeah, a lot of this is spontaneously written. Realise I'm getting slagged off, but I don't give a fuck, to be honest. A lot of my poems are quite visual, so here are some visual poems. Don't have to fucking watch, do you? Bye. Day 131. Putting together a new ebook, years in the making with the help of the universe, for the final push was enlightening and exhilarating, but now I'm left with the inevitable obligation to savagely self-promote it through social media platforms, or else not even be able to bloody give it away. Day 132. Trusting amid the usual handful of likes and a lot of silence that what I put out of myself into this life is somehow worth it, without beating myself up for buying into the delusion that finally I'll get a lucky break or make a difference and some treat money. Day 133. You love your pigeonholes, you almost plop into to quell others' fears to envisage there might actually be opportunities outside yourselves much more orgasmic than mortificating with a tribe of clones all shitting out the same old tactics to acquire the house, the kids, to sanely dispatch into pigeonholedom. Day 134. Was I being controlled? Was I imagining it? Was it just his way? Was blocking him cruel? I knew how he made me feel because I'd already told him to stop. He was the puppeteer, and I was becoming his puppet, caring too much what he thought of my work. Day 135. Squeezing my writing into on-screen boxes to satisfy readers' excitement and Amazon's algorithms in exchange for minimum sales and hours of feeling zombified could be used to continue my search for what makes me feel alive, needed, connected, by simply being my imperfect, messy, passionate, boundless self, living in Norway. Hi, BaggySimon. Yeah, it is kind of a poetic diary. I wrote it during the pandemic. It's kind of soul poetry. I wrote it. It's spontaneously written, but edited later, quite heavily edited later, just to kind of, it's sort of in terms of spelling and line endings for the book. I illustrated it as well, the book, so it's like my drawings. Day 136. That's a migraine poem, a visual. I suppose it is introspective, a lot of it, but it's about my sort of observations of that time. Yeah. Day 137. Deep in the murk of a Norwegian lake, freshwater lake, dramatic lake, remotely operated vehicles, multi-beam sonar, ghostly shapes looming, hydro ferry, drowned ferry, maritime archaeologist, cargo wreckage, shape of a valley, captain's wheelhouse, barrels of heavy water spilled over the side, railway carriage for sale, transportation to Germany. Yeah, they're all kind of 50-word poems, 50-word or character poems. A lot of them are list poems. A lot of it's quite dark because that's where my darkness goes, into my writing and my music, my art. Day 138. Walk for 100 counts, jog for 30 counts. Joy that I jogged for 100 counts. Jog a bit faster for 30 counts. Painful right psoas muscle for 100 counts. Jog through the chest pain for 30 counts. Take a new path through woodland for 100 counts. Yes, it did affect me greatly. BaggySimon, thanks for asking. Yeah, I was going through a sort of dark night of the soul, I guess. I'm reassessing my life and what I kind of wanted out of life and where I fit into everything. I actually enjoyed lockdown. Don't think I've ever come out of it really. But yeah, it did affect me in good and bad ways. Thanks for asking. How about you? Did it affect you? Day 139. Allergic to love, I push it away. Never let others stay too long with their lots of love from a bad place I can't see. Allergic to abuse, I attract it anyway. Always let others stay too long with their lots of love from a bad place I can see. Yeah, I enjoyed the solitude. I enjoyed being able to walk places without people being around. Um, um, yeah, just enjoyed all that really. Day 140. Hi, Ash Sindor, 1583. Day 140. Trash cash, ash sash, mash fash, hash dash, trash rash, gash bash, pash lash, house mouse, rouse spouse, douse use, hash house, spouse ash, mouse ash spouse, house hash, use do's, spouse rouse, mouse house, lash pash, bash gash, rash tash, dash hash, fash mash, sash ash, cash trash. A lot of it's quite off the wall because it was an off the wall time, you know. I just felt nothing made sense, you know. It's like crazy time, and a lot of poets that I know were doing the same thing, writing a poem a day, exchanging poems with their poet friends. Were you in an urban environment? Yes, I live in East London, so kind of on the East London Essex border. Fortunately, I've got some lovely woods near to where I live. So, yeah. Day 141. Too many people have killed themselves because they don't feel understood or wanted by a society that favours masks over mental wellness. I want to change that by being unafraid to put both my darkness and light out there so that those who deserve to feel visible and valued do. Day 142. Platforms, flares, lilac tie-dye top with tassels, sky blue gingham dress, white knee-high socks, navy school jumper, tangerine crop top, drain pipes, black patent shoes, mohair jumper, Doc Martens, cheesecloth shirt, dungarees, tartan ankle socks, fingerless knitted gloves, the Oasis crinkle skirts down to the floor, leather lace necklace. I'm primarily a musician, BaggySimon. I'm I have been a professional jazz musician. My main instrument's the double bass. I also play the piano and violin, the accordion, multi-instrumentalist really. So I've performed and I write a lot of music. I compose a lot of music as well. Thank you. Day 143. Sealed in social media again, obsessing over notifications that I'm valued, getting it right, making peanuts, losing sight of my original intention for 2020, which was to find out why I still want to get up and on in the mornings, despite knowing that I'm a prisoner of Boris Johnson's. Day 144. I squished my favourite cactus all over the sole of my slipper, making my sweaty feet even sweatier and more itchy. Now the heat is back to render me madder and fatter and rattier than normal. Life has never turned me on because I don't feel at home with humans. Day 145. Roddy Lumsden's Instagram account has been taken over by a spammer, which really upset me, even though Roddy is long gone from this existence. He was such a complicated, tender and talented, colourful soul whose immortal online presence was casually confirmed, deleted by just another profit-hungry pig with zero empathy. Day 146. Targeted again on Instagram by a fake Erica Zhong direct messaging me, pretending to care how I've been coping in lockdown. So of course I lapped it up, and because she's a poet I admired at university, I ripped open my heart and she fed me misspelt sales patter. Day 147. I used to speak Norwegian fairly well, but at this time at night, being absolutely knackered, I can't pronounce it. So you just have to read this one. Not that you understand it anyway. Klein bottle style in that picture. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I'm trying to think where the inspiration for that came from. I think I was looking at labyrinths. I'm quite into permaculture, and yeah, I was experimenting with permaculture designs on my allotment. I think that was one of them. So, but yeah, you're right. Day 148. Messing around with punctuation marks and stuff. And what also happened in the pandemic for me was because life was like nothing that I'd ever experienced before, and you kind of felt everything was dying around you. You sort of lived in the past, and I was brought up in the 80s, and I was just remembering all the things that I used to watch on TV, that I used to eat, that I used to wear, toys that I had when I was a kid. So this is another one of those sort of poems. Day 149, Yogi Bear, Emu's World, Wacky Races, Pigeon Street, Cockleshell Bay, Picture Box, Inspector Gadget, Banana Man, 80 Days Around the World, Crackerjack, Cheggers Plays Pop, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Grange Hill, Button Moon, the Flintstones, Bat Fink, Thunderbirds, Supergran, the Munch Bunch, Dick Tracy, the Clangers, Captain Caveman, Trumpton. Where are you based? I'll just call you Simon, it's easier. Yeah, I had fun drawing all these cartoon characters and stuff. I get that poetry's not very popular with a lot of people, especially bad poetry like this, I suspect. But it's what got people through a lot of the pandemic, you know, poetry and drawing rainbows and music. But it's, you know, so devalued in society nowadays and disrespected. But at the end of the day, it gets people through, you know. Day 150. Onyx of the conker, garnet of the plum, emerald of the leaf mould, diamond of the raindrop, ruby of the jelly, tourmaline of the rose, blue sapphire of the skylight, natural pearl of the skull, beryl of the cough sweet, jade of the pea, smoky quartz brown of the brick. Day 151. Milk with salt, sugar with cabbage, radish with beer, chewing gum with egg, marshmallow with cat biscuits, broccoli with strong mints, pasta with donuts, vodka with tea leaves, curry paste with vanilla essence, lemonade with chili, orange peel with mushrooms, baked beans with cashew nuts, porridge with cheese and onion. South Coast. Is that England or America? I enjoy seeing people enjoying their output. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm actually going through a really tough time at the moment. I'm losing my partner and I just can't sleep. Finding it hard to stay on this planet, to be honest. So I thought, well, I'll just, you know, go live, make a fool of myself, but I don't give a shit, really. You know, some things in life you just get, you kind of go beyond caring. Yeah, she's got Alzheimer's, Simon, and yeah. Day 152. Flower blocks, trusty plough, window clouds, cleared desire, loaded blooms, flamed yellow, cotton treats, jammed drawer, crusty jumper, grapes blamed, smart grower, mainly crocus, gloomy boater, rotten lobster, moored riders, foamed floods, prayer hunter, housed creeps, goaded spanks, popped roost, groove opener, teamed jostle, backed slider, walled action, double moaner. I'm from Birmingham, actually. Oh, hi, Michael. Yeah, I'm from Birmingham. A posh Brummie, probably. I haven't lived there for 30 years, but my grandma didn't like my accent, so then I lived in Chichester for a long time, where it's very posh and people always used to comment. So I thought, I'm sick of this. So I tried to eradicate it. But I'm a bit of a Cockney now, I suppose, having lived in East London for a while, so it's a mixture. Day 153. Knees won't carry my body, right side teeth won't stop paining, hips won't stop expanding, breasts won't stop sagging, hormones won't stop debilitating, pubic hair won't stop greying, thighs won't stop thickening, bristly chin won't stop bristling, but I can walk, smile, create, feel, stretch, dance, garden, breathe, sing. The joys of menopause, eh? You're from Margate. I keep meaning to go. I'd love to go to Margate. I've heard good things about it, so maybe we'll do it. I have no shoes, I complained. Yeah, I guess that's... I met a man, he had no feet, poor guy. Day 154. Jellyfish, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Kylie Minogue, Jason Donovan, Kim Wilde, Boy George, Live Aid, Bananarama, Kate Bush, Wham, Tiffany, Erasure, Counting Crows, The Beatles, David Cassidy, Black Box, Diana Ross, Billy Ocean, Madonna, Sunita, Europe, Nick Berry, Aha, Angry Anderson, The Bangles, Simply Red, Bon Jovi, Queen, Samantha Fox, Confucius, Confucius. Sorry, can't spell. That's all right. Thanks for being here. I think that whole time of the pandemic kind of it kind of made me distrust. I have contamination OCD, so in the sense of that it was a complete nightmare. But I don't know, it was a time where I felt I had to listen to my instincts. You know, I didn't have the vaccination because I didn't feel that that was the right thing to do. But when you kind of, all this information was forced on you, you kind of have to dig deep to sort of find yourself, in all the noise. I was like Confucius, the menopause poem. I was also unmarked. What does that mean? I'm curious. Day 155. I can trust myself, 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 I can trust myself completely, completely. Day 156. The whole woods to myself at 6 o'clock, dark woods, under the shadows of overlapping dripping leaves, shape-shifting miles above my tiny, singular human figure, breathing in the open space, the cold air, the dense grey clouds, squirrels squabbling, crows screeching, and Dolly the Shetland sheepdog on her early walk. Day 157. People or profit? Profit over people. People eat profit. Profit outclasses people. Social distancing versus healthy economy. Healthy economy fucks social distancing. Social distancing unbalances healthy economy. Healthy economy trumps social distancing. Was the girth of their purses, wallets, on the minds of 41,000 UK COVID-19 victims who died largely alone? Do you like the woods, Simon? My life is practically in the woods as well. That's where I always run to rest and feel myself come back. Day 158. It takes less than 24 hours for the clusters and smatterings of likes and hearts to flatline if you go cold turkey and sidestep the never-ending insta-feed of multicoloured, tasty but useless information that's going nowhere and adding nothing to your only chance of life on this wondrous globe. The New Forest, my God, that's gorgeous. I think I've only ever driven through the New Forest. I took a group of people with learning disabilities to, where was it? I'm terrible with names. A seaside town near there. Can't remember, but yeah, it'll come to me in a minute. Day 159. Why do I feel so strongly the need to tell those who outlive me what it was like to be a human on earth? To leave behind some great truth or warning or overflow of celebration in music, words, and art of my experience I would gladly forfeit for rest. Lymington, yes, possibly. It was on the coast. Bournemouth, I think. Is that right? But I know I've driven through the New Forest. Day 160. Don't get a water meter fitted by eel-like Thames Water. They gobble money, and their water doesn't even come from the Thames. On this, the most polluted day in London so far, air tastes of endless roadworks, spent fireworks, kebab and grey tracksuit bottoms as the hardened sky melts pavement. Yeah, it was Bournemouth. It was Bournemouth. Day 161. The up and down curbs of Daisy Bank Crescent, my brothers pedalling furiously would lift off and fly as many metres as they could, were resting places while I learnt to roller skate, my feet forever twisting out from their metal mounts. In all our speedy excitement, eventually I cracked my left arm. Hi, Gem. Oh, hi, Penny. Lovely to see you. It's going to make me cry. Good to see you too. Sorry, I'm reading my terrible poetry out. It's the middle of the night and I need to do something. Day 162. Ugliness is an unsolved mystery. Ugliness is a snapped violin bow. Ugliness is two mansions in one. Ugliness is a teacher's wrath. Ugliness is a vandalized memorial. Ugliness is 5-year-olds swearing. Ugliness is smudged calligraphy. Ugliness is corruption instead of care. Ugliness is a dropped hem. Ugliness is a knifed picnicker. Ugliness is. Yeah, I drew a snake with big teeth. Day 163. The angels on the outside have been replaced by the angel in my heart. You're weighing in and checking out of my quintessence. You knowing me and what I'm trying to say, lifting me out of the dirt of my past. I love you is what I'm trying to say. Day 164. Loving you near me like a hot water bottle. I want to give you all my words like you've given me my words back. I want you near me like an over-affectionate cat trying to get into your cheek. Like a diamond, I want these 50 minutes to last forever. Yes, it's my own poetry. I wrote it in 2020. I wrote a poem a day, and they're all 50-word or character poems. Yeah, it was a time of deep contemplation for me. It's my way of coping, I think, with it. Day 165. Yeah, terribly honest. Day 165. In his office, Dad would cradle in his palm the wooden bulb of his pipe and poke back in stray strands of tobacco while listening with us to my old man's a dustman before he came Mr. Boyd, who made me faint, trying to get me to understand maths homework. Thanks, Michael. I don't really write to sort of impress people. I write because I need to, really. Day 166. A stab of realization, dread, of a liking for the lilt in a voice. From this moment, you'll seek forever to be beside, if only in dream. A linking of souls real on the realist level that can exist in the world if both feel and want it at once. 167. Is it wise to resist changing with the times when in 2020 every tiny attempt at meaningful connection with other human beings has to be shared online again and again and again for it to have any chance of adhesion to a consciousness programmed to consume I'll start again. Day 167. Is it wise to resist changing with the times when in 2020 every tiny attempt at meaningful connection with other human beings has to be shared online again and again and again for it to have any chance of adhesion to a consciousness programmed to consume, then fly tip free downloads? At the time I was thinking about I was struggling with social media addiction and phone addiction, and I was trying to detox and come off various platforms. I mean, I've stuck to that. I'm active on Instagram and YouTube. I've got a LinkedIn profile, but I don't. That's it. I'm not on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. Don't like social media, don't like socializing, but I like YouTube. where are we? Day 168. I'm dreading the 30 degrees wall of heat return, which will render me dripping, irritable, waterless, unable to breathe, sleep, practice, work in my box room, teach, move around my allotments, as it draws out the pus of society and their predilection for stabbing, bonfires, shooting, raves, and getting hammered. Yeah, a lot of my poems are you not happy? Sometimes I am. I'm happy a lot of the time. Yeah, I'm very happy when I'm creating things. Very happy when I'm in the garden. Day 169. I'm chasing my bouncing heart and painting with tacky acrylics I bought full of joy in Montmartre, tin cans that couldn't be recycled during the COVID-19 lockdown, which I shall sow chili seedlings in for sale I grew from the seed of chilies we had left rotting in the fridge. Day 170. UK pubs and restaurants are set to reopen on July the 4th, so the veiled monsters of power can randomly kill off another 43,000, who are just insignificant drains on the economy, not worth grieving over for any length of time, because time is money and people don't like to change. Day 171. Running in the pouring rain after an uprising of heat, loving every wet, warm drop weeping down my chin and throat of juiced rain clouds, soaking into and darkening my grey t-shirt to black as my joyriding, pounding feet whisk the ash of leaf particles up my second skin trouser backs. Thanks, Michael. I know poetry is not popular with lots of people, but this is what insomnia does to me. I have to get up. Lockdown meant nothing to me. I find this fascinating. Thanks. So yeah, I'm interested, Simon. No, it doesn't sound egotistical or blunt at all. It's how everybody experienced it in a different way, I think, didn't they? So I'm interested how COVID-19 affected you. This is another visual poem, Day 172. Day 173. Immune to surroundings, nose down, you weren't there. Embarrassed by my smile, you avoided the burden of communicating with a real life person, a very tall tree I'd never noticed before. Then a fight broke out between neighbours as I strummed my guitar during my first street organic plant sale. Yeah, I also play the guitar badly. Day 174. The blonde in a red tracksuit screamed, "You scabby cunt," at a guy. Colour and marigolds weren't what people needed. Cars racing up the crescent was as animated as it got. Passers-by clung to their phone pacifiers for fear of something different infecting their worldview, a lonely one of terror. Day 175. Fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, for another 35 words. Day 176. Have the courage to be strong, be positive, have courage, be strong, be positive, etc. I'd like to see how you get up every day without any good reason to be any of these things despite your best efforts. Have courage, be strong, be positive, have courage, be strong, be positive, ad infinitum. Everyone I met who was worried, I showed the trees and birds and asked them to show me where in nature any sign of issues lay. They could not totally get that, Simon. That's exactly what I felt. I feel whenever I go into the woods, whatever I'm going through or whatever questions I have, it's kind of diluted by being aware that we're all connected to so much more than other human beings. You know, the trees, the birds, everything. And are you? Your name is familiar, actually. Are you a camper by any chance? A wild camper? I'm a solo wild camper. I sleep in the woods. It was a wonderful time. It showed people's true colours. It certainly did show people's true colours. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Nothing matters. No. Nothing matters. And I think that's, for me, when I go camping and I wake up and I come out of my tent into a field, you know, it's like the biggest bedroom in the world. And you realise that all the things you worry about, all the little petty things that you worry about, they just don't matter. You know? Yeah. So I forget where I am now. Next page. I should really get back to bed. But day 177. Current situation unimaginable at Christmas. Current situation almost unbearable. Current situation manageable in the present. Current situation unsustainable. Current situation variable. Current situation irrelevant. Current situation full of love. Current situation belongs to us. Current situation uncontrollable. Current situation marred by booze. Current situation reversible. Current situation our only situation. Now is where we live, in the now. Yeah, I also resonate with that, Simon. You say I'm not a solo camper, although as a teenager I rarely slept at home. I would sleep rough, but on the forest. Yeah, I was always running away as a teenager. Not into the woods, but I took the. I lived in Walsall. I don't know whether you know Walsall. That's where I'm. That's where I was born, and I was always running away and getting the 51 bus into Birmingham. Yeah, that was my escape then. um, I loved nature as a kid. I was always playing. There was a lane at the back of our house, and my brothers and I used to play detectives and that. And I've always been interested in the police. I wanted to be a police woman at one stage, but my eyesight's too bad. But I've got quite a few qualifications in forensic science. So my I loved being a detective as a kid, and it kind of yeah, my interest has continued. You don't want to grow up, Simon's best thing. I never grew up either. Yeah, that sounds great. It's a special quality, I guess, in a parent to be allowed to allow your kids that freedom, I suppose. I don't know how old you are. Yeah, fuck growing up ever. Yeah, I don't act my age. I'm 50 and, you know, I'm actually really enjoying being 50. I don't like the menopause very much. Don't like, but it kind of, you know who you are by this age, and I don't know. I'm enjoying being 50, and I'm amazed that I've made it to 50. You're 40. Is that the New Forest with your kids? So day 178. Middle management. Steal money, steal time, gaslight, deny, twist, lie, evade, evade, lie, twist, deny, gaslight, I, steal time, steal money, middle management. This is one for you, Simon. Day 179. What are trees to you? Guardians of the peace, supports for downhill journeys, for us to feel our smallness, an audience for self-expression. Fuck IXT graffiti posts, rough reminders for soft hands to shake down another cloudburst, grief-bearing memorials, cool, dark shade, educators on how to be bare or adorned. Day 180. Maybe many people hate poetry for the same reason they hate jazz, for the same reason they hate art. But what got people through lockdown? Banks softening their message to poetry, online choirs bringing elated togetherness, kids filling their time painting rainbows to say, I feel just like, no, to say, I feel just what you're feeling. I'll read that again. The arms of a mother. Yeah. Are you talking about trees there? Day 180. Maybe many people hate poetry for the same reason they hate jazz, for the same reason they hate art. But what got people through lockdown? Banks softening their message to poetry, online choirs bringing elated togetherness, kids filling their time painting rainbows to say, I feel just what you're feeling. Yeah, tree to me. Yeah, I identify with that. For the past year, I did this project starting in March 2025, and it finished this March. For a whole year, I visited a local oak tree. It's called the Repton Oak. I'm a silver therapist, which is a forest therapist. I just qualified, and I've been going through this the worst time in my whole entire life. And yeah, I wanted to see what would happen if I visited a tree every day for a year. I didn't manage it every day. I was kind of I went easy on myself because nature doesn't force things, does it? Didn't force myself to go, and sometimes I did sessions in the garden, which you can also get the benefits of the forest in the garden, you know. But yeah, a tree for me was kind of yeah, had a protective feel, and I often wished I could climb up and lay in the branches, hide. So day 181, masked DNA doesn't match the daughter's pain system as their doorstep has fallen snowmen as well on different uphill battles of 40 infinite years on her own researching breast milk. You prepare follow-on milks of dinner. She'll be home. You know her elders could take on this kind of love. God knows where that came from. I don't I don't do drugs, by the way, even though it probably, but it was quite a hallucinatory time, actually. Day 182. Rating score better than. Better score than rating. Better than better score. Rating better than good. Score good, rating better than score. Better than rating good. Better score. Better star rating than star rating. Better than rating star. Better than rating score. Better than good star rating better. Day 183. A slug's life uncurled in my hand. Raindrops plopped leaves wasn't bird disturbance. Its soft horns retracted one by one as my thumb rose. I'd prized it from its dicey pavement crossing and eased it onto a strawberry leaf, while nearby other slugs gorged themselves orange on a sparrow corpse. Pharmaceutical drugs. Are you asking me if I do pharmacy? I don't do any of it. I have had a. I used to take what is it? God, I can't remember the name, but they were like anti-anxiety things. But I found those quite addictive, and I like Neuromol a bit too much. But I've managed to kind of not become addicted to that. I've never done. I've never done illicit drugs. The nearest I came, I smoked a spliff. It was a party. I used to work at the theatre, and we had an after party at somebody's house, and I was given a joint, and it wasn't just like a little roll up, it was a massive it's like a sausage. And I took one drag, and I've never felt so sick in my whole entire life. And how I didn't vomit, I don't know. And then I lay down and I had all this psychedelic stuff going on, like patterns and everything. And I quite liked that, actually, because I like, I like patterns and I like art and everything. And then I was walking home and it was like the pavement was like waves. And that was enough to put me off for life, basically. And at times like this, I probably wish I had something to take take the edge off. I did buy a bottle of port a few weeks ago, but it just makes me more depressed. Never been into drinking either. Pretty boring, really. But I have other addictions that aren't at all healthy. So, doesn't everybody have something, you know? What you don't do is break rules. So you do take drugs. I suppose, yeah. I suppose I do. If I'm, if I have taken Neuromal and, like I say, God, can't remember the name of the other one. What you don't do is break rules. I break rules in my I suppose in my sort of art and stuff and my writing. I love constraints and stuff. No, I'm boring good girl, really. Cannabis after alcohol, no. No, never really been into that. I went to Amsterdam though, and I love the idea of it all, but I love all the the gummies, and I loved Amsterdam. I loved it so much, but yeah, my mind is complicated enough, and I find reality difficult enough to get my head around, let alone without, any stimulus or stuff. Psilocybin is your friend. What's that? Is it an antidepressant? I don't know what that is. Day 184. Hang on, did I read the last one? Yeah, 184. If I ask you to give me space to pass, will you stab me? If I ask you to wear a mask, will you stab me? If I ask you to stop spitting here, will you stab me? If I ask you to back off, please, will you stab me? Day 185. I longed for lockdown to continue so I could stop striving to be a success when all I wanted to do was sleep. I longed for lockdown to continue because I resent feeling pressure to be sociable when I really am not. I so longed for society to hold back. Day 186. Everything I apply for is a scam, or I'm expected to work for free. Who would be a musician? What's in it for me? The disrespect is constant and chips away at my energy for the work I once lived for, but I choose to play for the appreciative few. No, I don't need antidepressants, if that's what you mean. The woods are my antidepressant. And I think being depressed, melancholic is quite a natural reaction to the world we live in. If you're sort of a sensitive feeling human being, I don't know, with climate change, the rise of AI, narcissism, everything, I find being in this world quite difficult. You know, I'm not depressed. I'm just, I feel things. Well, I am depressed at the moment, but I have my medicine, and it's not antidepressants. So it's just personal choice, isn't it? Day 187. Flashier, classier, more golden and exclusive servings of information ran my inbox for limited access over 7 days of rapid consumption and professional application, guaranteed to fill me up to overflowing with ideas, inspiration, knowledge, until the morning when a fresh batch of newer breaking information will land on breakfast. What is it? Oh, mushrooms. Silly me. I do mushrooms, actually. I do 8 organic mushroom blend. They're not magic mushrooms, because it's quite, last year it was quite the thing to try these mushroom blends for energy, and energy mainly, and it did help, but it was so expensive. And I make my own, because you can get mushroom mushroom tea. No, I don't find you condescending at all. But yeah, I do make mushroom coffee and hot chocolate, and I also mix it. I do mushroom porridge as well, with chia seeds. What else do I put in it? Flaxseed, turmeric, fruit, cinnamon, ginger. Turmeric's an amazing thing. I keep losing my hair. My hair keeps falling out. I keep finding it on the pillow. But if I drink, if I have stuff with turmeric in, it grows back. I keep having to cut my hair, because the longer it gets, the thinner it gets. Yeah, I've not been brave enough to forage mushrooms, like in the forest. Especially after the Erin Patterson case. I don't know whether you heard about that, in Australia, where she poisoned, how many was it? 4 of her family members with mushrooms. Death caps, and I think I have seen death caps, and they grow under oak trees, but I would just be paranoid. Having said that, I do eat wild edibles. I've educated myself quite a lot, because I have this fantasy of being completely self-sufficient. So I know what all right, I didn't know it could decalcify your arteries as well. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm getting tired now, so I won't be going for much longer. Where did I get to? Oh yeah, day 188. That's a visual poem. So the light's so bad in here, it doesn't kind of give it justice. Day 889. Barb, babble, oink, oink, bang. Beep, splat, pop. Babble pop, splat, splat, oink. Bang, splat, oink. Bang, pop. Bar, babble, bang. Bar, babble, oink, oink, bang. Beep, shat, plop. Babble, cock, splat, shat, oink. Bang, splat, oink, bang, pop. Bar, babble, bang. Oh, thank you for joining me. It's and for subscribing. I don't do this very often at all, Simon, but I'm thinking of doing more of it. You have to be fairly thick-skinned to do stuff like this, and I've grown a thick skin. You know, because you do get horrible people on things like that, but not important at the moment. I can handle all that. So I might well do more. So yeah, but yeah, I think I'm gonna end here. No, that's interesting. I haven't. That's a really good idea, actually. Writing over a hip hop beat. I might try that. I write a lot of poetry and I write a lot of music, but I find it hard to kind of marry the two. I have written a few songs, but it's like pulling teeth for me. I don't know why. But I find it extremely difficult. I'll write this down. Hang on. Listen to Chester P. A dragon never hides wings. Thank you. I will check that out. And yeah, stay in touch. I don't know how to end the live stream. I'll be back to read the rest of it, probably. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot more left. Bye for now, BaggySimon, and thanks for joining me. I've enjoyed chatting to you. Okay. Bye. And thanks for other people that turned up. Lovely to see you, Penny. Yeah, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.